Hi, I'm Danny Przinski, and today I'll be working as a second grade teacher looking at my math expressions TE and figuring out how I can turn what math expressions has given us as a resource into a workshop model for our lesson. One of the reasons we might want to use workshop model is it gives us a chance to really understand our students and know our students, to create some small group time, some time for conferencing with our kids. And also, we know we've got a lot of great resources out there, a lot of great things we've been doing as teachers for a long time. And so this is one piece of that, but we want to show how we can use everything at our disposal to really teach this lesson well. Today I'm going to be looking at Unit 2, Lesson 2, and the title of it is Draw Quick Tens and Quick Hundreds. And so what I really want my kids to be able to do, and what I've selected as the teaching point, is that they can represent numbers using squares for hundreds, lines for tens, and little circles for ones. And I want my kids to be able to know that and be able to do that, because that'll help them with all kinds of computation and place value and understanding later on. So today, as I take a look through my TE, I notice that there's an activity number 1, and that activity goes on actually here for 4 pages of the TE, with a lot of work with kids on their whiteboards, switching whiteboards, changing whiteboards around, and I really feel like that is going to be a little bit much to start off with. So one of the decisions I might make right off the bat is to, during my mini lesson, call the kids to the carpet, have them sitting there with me, explain how we can draw hundreds, tens, and ones, and have them do some practice, but not everything that's listed here in the TE. So I definitely want to show them how to make tens and ones, give them a chance to practice that, give them a chance to practice with hundreds right there at the whiteboard, at the carpet. But I don't want that to last more than 10 minutes as part of my mini lesson. After that, I've got some decisions to make as well. The TE here gives me 2 workbook pages and some differentiated instruction. And of the 2 workbook pages that the kids could do, I like page 77. That really goes along with what we're talking about. But page 78 is word problem practice, and I don't really feel like that's with what goes along with what we're working on today. So I may or may not have the kids actually do this page 78 in their workbooks. But I like 77, so I know at some point I want them to work on that, or possibly at one center or as part of a task board I want them to do page 77. Another thing I know is I really like the activity called Build, Draw, Write. And in that activity, kids would have a couple of dice. They roll their dice, and let's say they roll a 2 and a 4. That's number 24. They're going to take and build with base 10 blocks 20, 2 longs, and they're going to build 4 ones to build 24. Then they would draw that. That's exactly what we talked about in our mini lesson. So drawing out 2 longs, 4 ones. They've built it, they've drawn it, and then write the number 24. They can even write that in expanded notation, 20 plus 4. So they'll do that activity as one part of their center, or one task that they're doing today during the workshop. Another thing is in the differentiated instruction. I like this math writing prompt that they give for the on-level lesson. So I took a look at all of them, and that really one seemed to be the best, but I know I can take it a little bit further. It says for Jan has 1 dime and 16 pennies. And what I would do is have Jan has 1 dime and 16 pennies, and Bill has 2 dimes and 4 pennies. Who has more money? So kids have to draw both of those out and really think about who has more money. And it's, again, talking about tens and ones and numbers greater than 10. So it kind of goes along right with what we're talking about, gives the kids a chance to write today in math as well. So I would choose that as another activity. And I know there's a game called Race to 100. It's also in this differentiated handbook, but I've got a game very similar to that in my classroom where kids are rolling dice, building the numbers with their base 10 blocks, and every time they get 10 ones, they exchange it for a 10 or a long. Love that game. Which partner gets to 100 first? So that's a really good way to practice the skills as well. And what that's going to do for me is give me time, I know, to have some intervention time with my kids. So while these kids are doing the activities, it could be in centers where they're rotating together. It could be as part of a task board where they're going through and doing things in order. First I want you to do Build, Draw, Write. Then I want you to play the game. Then I want you to do your workbook page. But I'm going to have a chance to pull over a small group of kids. And the intervention here today is really a good one. And it's all about understanding 2-digit numbers. And so using those secret code cards that we have as part of our math expressions materials, using base 10 blocks, creating a bunch of different numbers and giving kids at my small table an opportunity, 2 or 3 kids, maybe 4 kids at the most, an opportunity to see what a 2-digit number really looks like, put their hands on the manipulatives, see those secret code cards pulled apart and see what those numbers are as well. I also know I've got some kids in my classroom who are probably a little bit more advanced, And for them, I've got an enrichment activity planned too, where I'm going to give them the number 134 and see how many ways they can draw that number. Some of those kids are going to be stumped. They're going to draw it just one way with 100, 3 10s, and 4 1s. But really, they could draw that with 13 10s and 4 1s, or they could draw that with 12 10s and 14 1s. There's a lot of different ways, and they can take that as far as they want. Really important too, at the very end of this lesson, I'm going to pull it all back together for a wrap-up or a share. We're going to come back up to the rug, and one of the things we're going to do is we're going to look at that math writing prompt. I'm going to have them bring that with them. So everyone has to have done that at some point during the workshop. And so we're going to come back up and we're going to talk about that. How did you decide who had more money? Certainly the first person had a lot more coins, but did they have more money? No, they might not have, because the second person had those 2 dimes. So that was worth more than all those pennies. So a chance to have that discussion, have that rich conversation with kids, model that out in multiple ways, and that math talk is also a really important part of the math workshop. So that's what I would do today. That's how I would take what Math Expressions has given me, find the best stuff of it, pull it out, use what else, other resources I have and what I already know how to do to create a workshop based on Math Expressions.